Trick or treat! Welcome to the channel. I am Country Boy, and today, yes, we are looking at some Ben Cooper costume kids figures. Which one specifically? We got these two right here. So we got Gizmo from Gremlins, and we got Stripe from Gremlins. These are from the guys over at NECA. Yes, this is Whatcha Figure. Welcome back to the channel, and we are looking at Gizmo and Stripe from the Gremlins Ben Cooper costume collection by NECA. These guys, these are so cute. This is a really cool idea that NECA's been doing for a while now. These are this is versions number 13 and 14, it looks like. So yeah, they've been doing this for a while. There's a whole bunch of cool ones out there. They got like the Justice League you can totally get. They got Jaws, that's a cool one. They got Alien, you know, the Xenomorph from Aliens. They got Beetlejuice, like the cartoon version of Beetlejuice. But I saw these in Walmart. This is the first time I'd seen them in person. I love Gremlins, and so I just had to get these ones. Maybe I'll get a few more down the line. I don't need to get the whole collection because there's a lot of them. There's also the Universal Monster ones you can get, like the Wolfman or like the Frankenstein. They also got like a skeleton dude. They also got like a devil dude, which I think I actually might have even dressed up as when I was a kid. That might be one of the costumes that I actually wore as a kid. That might be cool to get. If I could find a picture of myself wearing that and have that actual costume, that'd be pretty cool. Or hey, you know what? NECA has Ninja Turtles license, so maybe I'll get some Ninja Turtle costume kits. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe I'll get those as well too. But here, we are looking at the Gremlins versions of these Ben Cooper costume kits, and I can't wait to get to looking at these. But let's start by looking at the packaging. Okay, so starting us off, looking at the packaging here, we got Gizmo in the Gremlins packaging. It says Ben Cooper right there, as you can see, action figure, costume, and mask. Really awesome. I love the colorful design on these things. Very simplistic. It definitely reminds me of maybe the Ben Cooper packaging that you'd get for the costumes back in the day. NECA on the side, costume and mask, Ben Cooper, a lot more. There's a big image of the actual figure right there, and you can see the other guy in this line as well too. So there's Stripe also available, which we will take a look at right away too. And you can see this is number 13 in the line. On the top there, Gremlins Gizmo size 5.5, so that's inches, obviously, ages 14 and up. And on the bottom there, a whole bunch of stuff. This is the people responsible for making this figure, so go ahead and give them the credit that they deserve. And now that's going to be it for Gizmo. Let's take a look at Stripe. Wow, here we go. We got Stripe. This is the bad guy, the leader of the Gremlins in the first movie, as you can see. It looks cool. Again, Ben Cooper. It's the exact same packaging as the Gizmo, but on the back you got a big image of Stripe himself, and then a little Gizmo saying that he's also in this line as well too. Everything else is the same. He's number 14. There you go on the top. There you go on the bottom. All that's the same. Now there's nothing left to do but to get into the packaging. Alright, here is Gizmo out of the packaging, or at least the kid dressed as Gizmo, I should say. And if you didn't know, it says it right there. That way you can't confuse it for anybody else. Also, there's a big old picture of Gizmo on the front, which is definitely reminiscent of the toys back in the day. I remembered my Ninja Turtles costume having a picture of Ninja Turtles on the front, which is so unnecessary. But it definitely is. This is just cool. I love that they did that. And the plasticky cloth goods that they actually have on here kind of feels like the actual costume that I would have worn back in the day when I wore one of these costumes. And you can see that it's got a Gizmo mask on for this child, and it looks like it's a girl. It's got long black hair kind of sweeping up. It looks cool. It reminds me of, was it Lucy from Peanuts, from Charlie Brown? That's what the hair kind of reminds me of. And you can see the strap that actually goes around the back as well too. That's kind of cool that they did that. It's really neat. It's cool. It's a neat looking figure. There's not a whole lot of detail on like the character, on the person themselves, but the figure, it's really cool. Like, this is basically the costume that you would get. They got shoes on, nice simple white shoes, but if you look, they don't really have anything underneath. So they're not wearing any extra clothes underneath. So this obviously isn't in Canada, this character, because if they were trick-or-treating in Canada, they'd be wearing a parka, either over or underneath their costume. They'd have to buy a costume like 2 sizes too big, just so that they could do their trick-or-treating, because it is cold up in Canada. It definitely snows a lot of Halloweens here in Canada. So just letting you know, this kid is definitely not from around here, from where I'm at, because these arms would not be bare like this. You'd be definitely wearing a few different layers. But that's going to do it for Gizmo. Let's take a look at the bag that Gizmo comes with. Trick or treat, happy Halloween. Very simple. This is the type of bag that you would have with those costumes back in the day. Very simple. And some articulation we can do while we are here. Well, her head isn't going to go back nearly as far because she does have that bigger hair, so it goes about that far and then that far forward. Not too much. Side to side, very minimal, and then swivels side to side like that. The arms go back up really well, actually. That's a really good joint there in the arm. And then you got the 90 degrees. No, you got more than 90 degrees because you got a double jointed elbow, so that's really well done. And you can also swivel also at the shoulder, really good there. And then you got the swivel at the wrist, and they go back about that far. Actually, they don't go much further back than that. Forward about that far. So you got a good movement in that vein. Then the body has there's a little bit of a waist swivel right there. I can feel it inside where it doesn't really go forward and back too much. It's very minimal there as well too. But again, you're not gonna get the kind of articulation you're gonna need from like a Spider-Man or a Ninja Turtle for a little kid, anyways. And then the movement of the legs, they do a pretty good job. It's just they're only hindered by their costume, really, because they could go a little further than I'm showing you right here. They could probably do a perfect split if they really wanted to. And then forward, they go really well done, and then back, really well done as well, too. The knees are, I think they're single jointed. I don't want to push any further than that because it feels like that's as far as they want to go. And then the feet, they go down. There's your ballerina pose. Really well done. And then they go up about that far. So that's pretty good too. Sideways, a little bit of a rocker as well too. Yes, they got decent amount of movement for a character that you don't really need a whole lot of articulation because it is just a kid in a costume. And what would you need a whole lot of articulation for that? They're not going to be doing a whole bunch of tumbling and stuff like that. But hey, you got it. If you want to do it, you can do it. And so here is Stripe. Again, if you didn't know, there you go. It says it right there, Stripe. Again, from Gremlins. Got a nice picture of Stripe's face right there, and just a creepy Stripe mask that this kid is wearing. You can see it looks like a boy. You can actually see the string going around the back even better on his hair because it's not so dark. But yeah, again, it's the same level of detail. It's got the cool, got the greens, got almost like scaly skin that the Gremlins have. They're not really scaly. I guess they're kind of more bumpy and green. That's kind of the idea. He's got the red shoes going on there. And inside, you can see he's got blue eyes. I don't know if you noticed that, but she had brown eyes. He's got blue eyes. You can't take these masks off. They do not remove. And if you do, I think you'll mess up the faces of the kids. I don't even know if they have a full face under there. But again, he is not wearing any clothes underneath here, so you don't want to take these off because they don't have. Maybe they got underwear. I'm not too sure, but that's not something I'm willing to find out on camera here. That's not that's not decent. But here you go. You have his bag. It says trick or treat. Very simple. Again, I know some of these characters have different types of bags and cans and stuff they carry around like pumpkins that are cool for trick-or-treating. These guys obviously came with the bag style, and that's cool. Hey, I hope you're enjoying this episode so far, and if you are, please, if you wouldn't mind, just hit that like, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell, leave some comments down below. I am CountryBoy_9, a bunch of different places. Check me out. I'm also known as CountryBoyNiner, like right here on YouTube, and a bunch of different places as well too. I'm both of those names. Just check me out. I'm one of those names somewhere. But I'm also on their channel with my friends called Wasted Opinions. We have a blast. We talk video games, movies, TV shows, comic books, and the like. We talk about a whole bunch of different stuff. We have a blast. Check us out. But without further ado, let's get back to some Ben Cooper kids costumes. And if you wanted to do just a quick comparison, the actual Gizmo from NECA. This is Gizmo in his Rambo outfit, and this is the girl dressed up as Gizmo. So you can kind of see size-wise, they definitely don't compare properly to how the Gizmo and Gremlins and the Mongoys would actually fit in the world. But I mean, that's not what NECA's going for. They're going for different looks for these different Gremlin-type characters. And here is Stripe, the actual inspiration for this costume. This is obviously not, again, this is the right size. This guy's already towering over this kid, whereas he should only be about maybe hip height when it comes to Gremlins. But, I mean, you can obviously see that they definitely look a lot like the Gremlins over here, and this guy definitely has a cool-looking costume inspired by this guy right there. And just to throw in another comparison here, we have an adult-sized Ghostface, which is another person in a costume with a mask. So I thought that'd be a pretty cool comparison. You can see they're obviously much bigger than the kids are. But, you know, these kids, if they're supposed to be like 7 or 8, they're maybe a little bit too big. But maybe if they're like 12, 13, 14, then I guess they're probably about the right size, I suppose. So that would work for that. If they're like an older, tween-sized child, then that it definitely works with the human-sized adults that are in this world, in the NECA world, I could say. So that's how you compare here. Yeah, these costumes are, you know, they're basically what I expected. You know, minimal articulation, just the right amount of detail that you would need for a kid in a costume sort of thing. Just really cool. It's just a fun idea. I love that they're doing this. And, you know, I might just have to pick up a few more of these down the line because these are actually pretty cool. But that's going to do it for this episode. I am Country Boy. I put the sass in Sarsaparilla. But as always, be sure to let me know what you figure. just out of curiosity, what was your favorite candy growing up? I think mine usually were the gummy worms. I didn't really get those while trick-or-treating, but that was probably my favorite growing up, was the gummy worms with the sugar on top. Just a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of sour, really good. I like those, the blue and red ones. That's my favorite flavor of those for sure. But what was your favorite candy? What was your favorite thing to trick-or-treat for? I loved also like maybe getting those balls of popcorn as well too. Sometimes you get, or you get like actual whole cans of pop. Yeah, I loved that. Or I get like full-size chocolate bars. Those were always the best. Always when you get the full-size chocolate bar, not just the little dinky tiny ones that you get nowadays, those minis. They're not nearly as good. Or even money. Some people would give you money. That was awesome. But what do you think? You know what? And if you like what you saw here, go ahead and check out some of my other videos. I got a whole bunch of other stuff for you. Check it out. You just never know what might tickle your fancy.